You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello everyone and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo, your favorite video game podcast for the holiday season.
Ooh, listen to that one.
Yeah, I threw it up. I'm trying to change things because I've got reasons why, because we've got to earn that ranking, right?
We really do.
I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, happy Monday and happy holidays and all the fun stuff coming up, eh?
Yeah, hopefully you're looking forward to your holidays.
Yes.
Some of us are, and some of us aren't really.
Let's just go through it, man.
But it's
you just
okay.
Got a deal.
I won't mention names, but hey, did you know? And I thought this would be fun to bring up. I got an email that we were number 8 in the top 100 video games chart for Good Pods.
You shared that with me. That's super nice and sweet.
Yeah,
and thank you for all who was listening, who helped us achieve this.
Yeah. I didn't know we were on any top 100 list, but to be number 8.
I'm blissfully unaware of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And we were also number 9 on a top 100 leisure chart on the same site. So we got 2. We got 2.
Nice and leisurely, huh?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't beat top 10 in the top 100. That's pretty good.
I know, when you put it out of 100, it sounds really nice.
Right?
When you were at a top 10, I'm like, well, we just got in there. But 100?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean,
92
we could say
other podcasts.
We were still within the top 10, so that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know who's listening, but those of you who do use Good Pods, thank you so much. And tell all your friends to also use Good Pods, even though we're sponsored by Podbean, but we're not really sponsored by them. We use them. Podbean don't cancel us. Yeah, we use everything.
Listen wherever you like.
Doesn't matter. We have no loyalties. We're not Joe Rogan.
I'll go where... Ain't nobody offered us that kind of cash either. So. I don't know where we could be bought.
Well, you see, if somebody wanted to throw money our way, just to imagine if we had like a solely dedicated website or streaming platform, and they were just like spending all the money on this show. Boy, the things we could do.
Oh my gosh, right? And imagine like your day would probably get cut in half.
Maybe. But
upload once.
All I know is that we've done all right on our own. But if someone wanted to pay us to do this,
I mean, I'm not going to stop them.
No, I'm not going to be upset.
I guess we should, in this day and age, say we'd have to check out who it is first, right?
That is true.
We get ourselves in bed with some very unsavory people and have no idea and be like, well, we're digging ourselves out of this hole for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Pod Streamers. We're the newest podcast streaming site you'll ever know. And
you'll ever know.
You'd be like, come join us. Be our ambassador. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Why not? And then we turns out they're part of a sex ring or something, and then we're all
that
screwed.
Would be our luck.
Yep.
Our first offer would be like, and of course it would be this insert group name here.
I get I'm very hesitant every time I get one of those emails where they're just like, hey, we're setting up a new website and you can come check out and customize your own and claim your station. Mm-hmm. Okay, but what more can I do? What are you going to do for me? My podcast is already out there.
Right.
So,
I'm already doing my thing. So
yeah. So if you want to promote me, you want to help
bringing to the table,
boost us on your platform, sure, I'll talk about it all day. And, hey, I just brought up Good Pod. I didn't really know what they were prior to this, but
I did not.
Now I do. And I've claimed my podcasts.
There we go.
So there you
There's
go.
so many services, though, so I can't.
It is.
There's no way I could know them all.
I
think I'm slowly getting there.
Yeah, and I think I also understand why there is that exclusivity, like with Spotify and stuff like that, because the idea of a radio station in the podcast world doesn't even. I mean, if you can get it anywhere, then it doesn't matter. So it's whatever's convenient for you.
Right.
And
whatever service you like that works for you, that has a UI you enjoy, whatever your reasons are.
So, you know what I got to see a couple of nights ago?
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
I did not. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I did not get out.
I wish I could talk about it, but I know that there are probably people out there who did not have an opportunity to see it. I feel sorry for them because I know the internet is littered with spoilers in every way, shape, or form, whether it's a headline or a YouTube video. Yeah, did I tell you about that? Did I tell you about the YouTube video that spoiled the movie?
People are jerks. I don't know why some people find that as a favorite pastime, but they're out there.
Yeah, this was a YouTube video. Someone had uploaded like clips, bootleg clips from a screener.
Jesus.
And they put this, whatever the scene was, big spoiler headline right there to where when you saw it, you knew what it was. You didn't have to watch the clip. It was just like, here, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. And there was a big plot point that this asshole spoiled for me.
Just a straight up jerk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, there was another one that I came across. And again, I didn't go actively searching for these.
Right.
This was sitting in my recommended videos. So as I was kind of thumbing through, they were like, oh, you Spider-Man. I looked at it and I was like, nope. What are you doing? Stop. And I moved along, and then there sat another one. Same streamer and everything. And I was like, stop!
Block that person.
Oh, I kind of took them off my do not recommend this anymore.
Yeah, or whatever it is, if that actually works. But maybe that'll
it
help
doesn't.
it from floating back into your home screen.
That only took away his videos, and then, someone else.
Other surfaced, of course.
So there were plenty of them. Luckily, after I watched the movie, I came home, and then when I saw these floods of uploaded bootleg clips, I was just like, all right, well, at least I know what happens now, so it doesn't matter. But oh my God, it was so good.
Well, good. I'm sure I'll eventually get around to seeing it.
I'm trying to think of a way I can say this without spoiling anything. I love where the character is now.
Okay.
And I mean Peter Parker. Like, where they left him off in this movie. Like, you start wondering, as the movie goes along, you wonder, well, where's this going to go? How's this going to work? Everything. Mm-hmm. But where they left him at the end of this movie, I was like, yes.
Satisfying.
Everything up to that point. Now, granted, some may not like it, depending on how you want it. But where they left him, for me, as a longtime Spider-Man fan, they put him in the position of being the Peter Parker / Spider-Man that I know and love and grew up on. Like, positioned how the story goes, that's where he is now.
Okay.
Without saying anything like how he got there, he is going to become the Spider-Man Peter Parker that I know and love. And no offense to the Peter Parker Spider-Man, he was, in the last 3 movies. I mean, he's still, but character growth. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Character growth. That's what it is. And in all the right ways. So I'm excited for it, despite, the path it got there. But I'm excited to see where you go from here.
All right.
And so, but there was, I really hope that there's someone out there in this world who has absolutely zero knowledge about this movie and can go in absolutely blind, because it'll blow your mind away.
Oh, good.
This was one of those the crowd pleasers where the audience is cheering, clapping, hooting, hollering, all that stuff. It was excitement all around.
Good.
And also to the point where, you hear someone talking or you're just like, shh, because I'm trying to watch the movie and I get it. Just shh, I want to.
Right.
They're talking. I was excited too, but they're talking.
We didn't pay to hear you.
Yeah. Shush. Shush. It wasn't really that bad, but there was even a moment where my wife was trying to tell me a theory and I'm just sitting there looking at her like, honey, the movie.
We could discuss afterwards, honey.
Yeah,
That's what the drive home is for.
Right. And I was trying not to, because I probably looked like I was being very aggravated, and I didn't mean to. It was just like, but the movie's playing. Please.
Right, yeah.
I just want to hear them, and we can talk. But,
and I love you, but shush.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Anyway, but no, I'm excited about it. I can't wait until I can openly talk about it, but I don't know when that will be. Mm-hmm. Because
maybe
I don't
safely after the holidays. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Anyway, hey, what you been playing?
I had a decent week checking out some stuff. I just started it this weekend and it was nice and short, so I've already finished it. But Lake, it came on Game Pass, and it was one that I was kind of interested in checking out, but it was one, backlog heavy. Fine, not gonna dive into a whole bunch more, but it popped up on there. Hell yeah. I want to say maybe 6 hours to complete the story. I feel like once I describe it, there's nothing to it. And I loved it for what it was. Maybe I'm starved for human interaction, but so you're playing your protagonist. She's big time, big city, has a real big job in computers, but she's from this lake. I can't remember the name of the town in Oregon. And so her dad is a mail delivery person, and her mom and dad went on vacation to Florida for a couple of weeks. And so your character decided to go stay at the lake house for a couple of weeks, deliver the mail. Okay. Just going to take a little vacation, chill out, deliver the mail. And literally that's what you do. You get up, you get in your little car, and you go deliver your packages, and you deliver the mail. And then at the end of your day, you have stories or experiences with some other people around town, depending on how it goes. So you're legit just feeling like you're watching people live their day out, having a conversation at the diner, or meeting up for a VHS movie night, at the Flick Shack. And that's it. And by the time we finished it and wrapped it up, you get to decide, at the end, whether you want to go back to big city job and because, you're a programmer. And the year is 86, to put that a little bit more in perspective, too. So, or do you want to just stay and live a very simple, quiet, non-fast-paced life? And there's no huge difference in the ending. It just kind of tells you what you did. But it's a very gorgeous game, and I think that's the biggest hook that it has for it. It's just it's open world within this little town that you get, so it's not an extravagantly large world. But while you're delivering the mail, it's open world. You're driving around. You maybe could go to Moe's Diner, or this, that, or the other. But yeah, just literally having BS conversations with people around town. And I'm like, this is what the pandemic's done to me. I'm so starved for what it's like to just walk around town and have a chit chat with people you might have used to know or friends. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I do need this back in my life. Just sitting here doing it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I got through it in a couple of sittings. So if you're looking for just a really chill, just kind of wholesome little game, freaking go fire it up. I could recommend it. It doesn't run beautifully. I was a little disappointed in that. It did have some clipping weird issues. And sometimes the people just disappeared on me on screen, which was weird. As soon as they were done talking, just disappeared. I did get teleported to the other end of town without my truck, which was obnoxious, by the way. So I did have to walk all the way back. I'm like, damn it, my truck didn't come with me. All right, so I just walked all the way along the lake, and she doesn't run, by the way, or jump. There's no need.
Oh,
so it
so
was it was a leisurely walk back to my
oh,
truck.
God.
So
I mean,
thankfully
that
it wasn't
sounds-
a large world.
I mean, I guess. It's just,
But it was a nice, chill, relaxed game. That's all I can
Okay.
say. It's very chill. You're just going to deliver the mail. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to have little conversations with people around town. And you could decide if you want a little relationship or not with, one of, like, I found like 2 people maybe. But I didn't even know about one till like the end. And I was like, oh, he really did care? Because like, this was not the impression I was getting. And now, like, I didn't even think this was an option. Let's put it this way. That's how much it was leading up to it. But I also played Evil Genius 2 World Domination a little bit more. It's starting to get to the point where everyone hates me, so I had to put it down for a minute because I was getting a little frustrated because it was like every time I turned around, there was someone attacking or a new someone breaking into my casino trying to steal my secrets. And I pretty much have a stronghold in every part of the world now. So, duh, why they're coming after me. But I was getting a little frustrated, so I had to stop because I got tired of fighting every mother ever. It's like, leave me alone for a minute. I got to retrain some people. You killed a lot of my guys. I need a minute. And then I had to revisit an old one because of something that I had discovered this week. Thank you, Red Sonja. I think she's Red Sonja on Twitter. She probably still streams. I apologize if I get that. But she tagged me in something that she knew that I would be interested in for Phantasmagoria. So if anybody who's known me for long enough, Phantasmagoria, loved that one. There was a second game as well. It's an FMV from the 90s, 95, 96, I want to say is when they released. And have you ever played one of those games and just thought to yourself, I wonder what those actors are doing now or something? Because it's been so long ago. Well, I can tell you, he the actor from the second one created a YouTube called Conversations with Curtis. And Curtis is the name of his character in the game. And has been interviewing and having like a little podcast with some of the old actors from the second game. And it was just fun to flip through because I was seeing all these people later. I'm like, oh my God, they're alive, they're well, they're doing their own thing. And so yesterday they had a live stream with him and the one who played Adrian from the first game.
Yeah.
So both of the protagonists were both of them together having a chat. And it was just all the nice little memories just flooding back from me playing those games. So I went back and played the second one because I was like, you know what? It's been so long since I've did a complete playthrough of the second one. The first one I've beaten a lot. And the second one I only had played through a couple of times. And man alive, I forgot. Like just FMVs in the 90s were weird. They were bizarre. They were always trying to push an envelope. Like, there's, like, a lot of FMV from the 90s you'll play and read back on now, like, whoa, holy hell. Well, maybe not so much these days. Maybe now we would think it's tame. But, like, the gore factor, the sex they would have in the games. Like, I had forgotten just, like, how much the second one upped the ante. My God. It had been so long. I forgot about it. But, yeah, so just know it's not for, like, little kids. There was like a lot of BDSM scenes in it and stuff, which like I can remember like teenager me going, like this was so funny for me to watch. Nobody knows, but it was also gory and like, it was one of those. Think Psycho Gorman, right?
Yeah.
Like where you're just having this horror movie and then why is there just sex out of nowhere that has to be so?
Why
But
not?
here we are. So I went back and played that one, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to kind of flip through and see the actors from 25 years ago just doing their own thing or what they're happening to be doing with their lives now, if they even decided to pursue acting or not. So yeah, so I went and played back through that one and watched their little interview with Adrian and Curtis. It just smiled. It was like some fun memories just in there watching these people from so long ago. So yeah. recommend that. If you were a fan of either of those games, he's doing that whole series over there and chatting with some of the people that I guess are up for it, that are game for the whole whatever he's doing there. But it was fun. But outside of that, what have you been playing?
I didn't play a lot, but I did play a little. I just decided, because I've still been in this, I don't want to say funk, just I guess I needed a palate cleanser.
Sure.
So I went through and finished doing cleanup on Lego Batman 3, because it was just something I could dink around with. I'm not committed to anything, no stories, no nothing. It was just, I'm going to go collect things because I have nothing better to do.
Right?
And it just seemed like the thing to do.
You just want something chill to do.
So I did, and got everything that I, 100%, got that platinum. I'm done with it. And I guess for the Christmas season, I'm going to be playing Resident Evil Village because I popped it in finally. And it's uploaded and it's ready to go. So,
is this your first time playing through the whole
I've
thing?
not played it yet.
Ooh, good luck.
But see, I've got to get through all this other stuff because we started watching The Witcher last night.
Oh, yeah, I have 2 episodes in. We can't really chat about that either. We're not allowed anymore.
I know.
Getting dropped at the same time. You never know where anybody's at in a series. Some people have already finished it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. I get it. And, my wife, we were watching something, or I was watching something the other day, like the day it came out, Friday, matter of fact. And I was off Friday from work, and she said that she was going to go out in the morning and she was going to come back, and then, we'd have the whole day.
You guys are going to watch. Yeah.
Well, no, she was gone all day, thanks to
Damn it, Katrina.
other people. I'll just say thanks to other people. I won't go into specifics, but she was gone all day thanks to other people. And she comes home, and I'm watching, I don't remember what I was watching, but just other shows that weren't The Witcher.
Right.
And
not The Witcher.
Furthermore, the reason that I was off Friday is I had this grandmaster plan that I'd go see Spider-Man Thursday, so I wouldn't have to go see it Friday, because Friday, Joe Bob Ruins Christmas was happening, and I couldn't miss a live Joe Bob special.
I saw the tweets.
Yeah, so I had to be there. And she just looked at me and she's like, "Why are we not watching The Witcher right now?"
You just got home.
I was just like, well, because we got other shows to catch up on, and Joe Bob's going to start in a little bit. Plus, I've been here all day. Where have you been?
I already finished The Witcher. That's why we're not watching it. Ooh,
looked at me with a pouty lip, and I'm like, hey, I'm just saying, you said you'd be here. And I was here. Where were you?
I already watched
anyway,
it.
It doesn't matter. I wasn't trying to guilt trip or anything like that, but just pointing out facts.
There's still plenty of time.
Pointing out facts.
Plenty of time.
So you got some news? Got some news you can talk about?
There is a little bit. Yeah. So first up on the docket, this one made me a little sad. So I'll admit that I knew not a lot about this because some of this, transpired many years ago before I was really paying deep attention to a lot of stuff. But nonetheless, while some were expressing their joy, of course, of hearing about a new Star Wars game coming out, I would say we were included in that to an extent. We were like, hey, EA's finally out of this picture, or not solely the one in the picture. But there were some gamers not happy at all with the fact that Quantic Dream actually got made part of this, got into this, and digging through it, they have a point. And earlier this week, some fans started a protest actually over the fact that Quantic Dream, well, really more specifically that David Cage is involved. This seems to stem from earlier accusations of allowing instances of sexism, homophobia, and racism within their walls over at Quantic Dream. Not sure how I didn't see how deep it was, or the comments and things that were made. But in 2018, Quantic Dream did have 3 separate French news outlets report on these accusations, where David Cage himself was accused of telling dirty jokes, making inappropriate comments at work, mostly about female actors within his games as well. Cage did say the accusations were false. Even won a lawsuit against one of the publications while another outlet was cleared of their libel charges, which leads us kind of to the protests that people are doing today. There's even been media outlets vowing to not even cover the game once it's released if Cage stays involved, doing reviews of it. Others, set their sights on Lucasfilms for even partnering with Cage in the first place. I wasn't able to find a response from either Quantic Dream or Lucasfilm since this happened, because I was kind of going through the hashtag that was created for it, which is the Blackout Star Wars Eclipse. And as I was starting to read through it more, the comments and stuff that David Cage would be making about the women in his games, that he doesn't make games for the F slur for gay people. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. So I couldn't find anything newer this morning about anything again being for the people who probably should be addressing the outcry, and well within reason. I could see why now, and damn it all to hell. So, yeah, screw that. God damn it, man. Like, I think I'm just like, I'm growing exhausted of just seeing how people are being treated that are creating these experiences for us that I enjoy. And I don't even know if I want to mess with AAA anymore, man. Like, I'm getting so exhausted of knowing my money's been contributing to this that I just...
Yeah, I know. No, I get it, because you feel like you're going to miss out on something because you've been a fan of a lot of this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you learn something terrible about people and it's garbage, and it's just
I felt
it kills
so gross.
you.
I felt so gross because I mean, everyone probably knows me. I was a big fan of those games. I mean, back when he was on PC even and came over. So, I mean, and it sounds like this had been going on since 2011, and earlier. And I don't know. It's just, it really was extremely disappointing because those are the types of games that I do enjoy. I always thought that they did do that genre of game very, very well. And now, at the expense of... I don't know. I almost could cry. I'm just so upset that this seems to keep being in the news. And then when it finally hits one that, you've been supporting all these years, that it's just God damn it, man.
Well, and kind of
I laugh
related,
out of awkward, guys. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I just,
No.
it's my brain processing emotions right now.
Well, think of it like this. I mean, I know we talked about this, or at least I brought this up to you this past week, but in a similar situation, we had Jeff Garland is apparently leaving the Goldbergs because of somebody had said that he had been inappropriate.
Yeah, it sounded like the entire team finally was it's been a little rough to...
And I hate, and deep down, you watch a lot of this and it frustrates you. Because this is somebody that you've watched in shows and movies, and you found joy because of them, and suddenly they could be a creep, and you don't want to believe it, but it gets harder and harder not to anymore because every time you turn around, sure, someone is a creep.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, the moment Bill Cosby became prime rapist number one, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Because here's a man who was supposed to be America's dad, and
family, wholesome.
now it's just
yeah,
and you're just like,
how that took a turn.
So to me, it's hard, and I don't want. Again, I'm stuck in this mental gymnastics where I don't want to believe it, but I can't not believe it because.
Yeah. It's looking more and more like this was the case because I I don't know, maybe, when the publication won its suit or this, you start to wonder, well, maybe it was somebody just trying to throw stuff out. So I get trying to rationalize it. And I think I'm still just grappling with the fact that, like, damn it, this is probably, or not probably, if this stays the course, something I just won't support anymore. And I can find plenty of other avenues for it. It was very disappointing. So once we hear anything from either side, because we'll let you know. But as of this moment, I haven't seen either side really address it. So at the time we're recording, they're still moving forward as a team, to my understanding. And we'll see if David Cage remains a part of it and if it'll just be Quantic Dream. I mean, it is his studio, so I don't know. It sounds like the issue's with him, not the whole studio. So,
right. Before you go on any farther, I want to throw in a little, we're going to shift gears a little bit so we can get away from all this creepy, sad news. To Dava, who just messaged me right now, and I saw the pop-up come up just now. We are recording, but thank you for your kind words about Super Mega Crash Adventures Episode 4. I just saw it pop up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Oh, yeah, we didn't say that up at the top, did we? We have episode 4 out.
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Go
check it out over on the YouTubes.
While we're talking about it, this one was a labor. This is laborious because I'll tell you this. Everything that happens within the palace, most of those assets, especially the background assets, were all hand created by me. Digitally colored, twisted, everything was hand drawn, then digitally created by me.
Congrats.
So it took extra work.
I think it's one of my favorites.
It's definitely I'm proud of it. Every time I watch it, I'm proud of it.
You should be.
But it also it's the concern. I put a lot of effort into that, and I really want people to see it.
I'm sure they will. I feel like ours takes off 3 weeks later or something because we don't understand YouTube.
I don't. I really don't. I wish there was a way I could put more eyes on it, and then they could draw more eyes to other things. And, I didn't finish. I mean, there's still 2 more I've got to go, and that one just really just slowed me down for some reason.
Hey, it looks great. I think it's one of the better ones. You can tell we're finding our own. And
I made some minor adjustments like the day before I posted it. Some minor.
Just can't leave it alone.
I
can't leave it alone.
He also said, because I read this as the pop-up, he said something about the captions. I may need you to go look that over because I did say I made some minor adjustments. I did, but remember, I just said I made some minor adjustments, so I think that might be what I forgot. Like I used one for a prior
you used
cut,
my old one.
I could have made like a couple of frames and tightened it up a little, and that was enough. So I'm gonna have to just go in there and take a peek.
I didn't even check the captions on, but that was a good call, David. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so let's see here. We did have an Activision Blizzard update. I guess we may as well just get them both out of the way, right? At the top, move on to happy stuff.
Garbage.
So another update from this last week, Tuesday, in fact, in federal court, the judge said she will deny the state of California's attempt to intervene in the $18 million lawsuit settlement between Activision Blizzard and the EEOC, according to Bloomberg News here. So what I think this means, and again, I'm not a legal mind, do not understand this, so as best that I can try to figure out all this mess, is that this California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing is now denied being able to join in the EEOC's lawsuit against Activision Blizzard in order to oppose the dissent decree. If we remember when they were having the back and forth between a conflict of interest between the DFEH and the EEOC from a lawyer having worked both sides, I feel is probably a TLDR, very paraphrased. But the DFEH filed this objection in October. 18 million wasn't enough in their mind, and they thought, with the way that EEOC was proceeding, it was going to hurt their case. Well, the three factions here have kind of been at odds over their own cases. So it looks like they just can't join in. So the DFEH can no longer object to this dissent decree. So at this point, the EEOC and Activision Blizzard can still submit their own clarifications on the dissent decree in January. So coming up here. But the state of California will be able to submit comments. And I don't know, it sounds like the formal ruling on this particular thing should happen shortly after that in January, whatever shortly means in court time.
Gotcha.
Because nothing, I feel, is a short amount of time when you're going through the court system. So I guess wait and see. What happens with the other suits that are going on. But this one I just thought was fun because you don't get to hear news like this at all. I don't think. Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know if you've seen this MMO. It just had a new DLC content, Endwalker drop. People are signing up for free trials. People are coming to the game in droves. It's been doing really, really well. So well, they had to suspend sales because there's just too damn many people playing it.
Wow.
Yes. Never ever in my life have I seen where it's done so well I'm not allowed to sell it anymore because we just can't keep up. But that's pretty much the short of it. It really boiled down to the game was, again, just so insanely popular. It was causing a headache for the servers. It's just, as of this last Thursday, Square Enix announced that it is temporarily halting. I can't talk all of a sudden. I feel like I'm having trouble on certain words.
Okay.
That it is temporarily halting the ability to purchase the game to help ease the server congestion that players have been experiencing since earlier this month. So early December. So 2 weeks now.
So it really just took off all of a sudden, it seems.
My God. Like people were waiting reportedly for over an hour or two, sometimes to get to log in. 2 weeks later, it's still this rough. So they suspended the free trials for the moment. They're apologizing profusely, because it's kind of a funny, ridiculous situation. People who have, paid subscriptions will get the, I can't talk. I need more coffee or something. They get to use it first. They'll get to log in first. I don't know why I was trying to think of a word that wasn't coming to me. So until existing players can get through the new content, it sounds like they're just going to kind of halt for a minute until those who are in now, I guess, have gotten to play. And then they'll start letting some more people in. So yeah, they're offering some paid subscription time for those who are already a subscriber as an apology. I don't know. I just found it amusing that it was just so damn good.
So
good for them.
I guess my big question is, did something come out, or did the word
Endwalker.
Finally just?
Expansion pack.
But I mean, that one thing is what drove everybody to this, because this game has been out for how long now?
It's been a long time, but it's been super popular, and I guess with the craving of the new content and it just being so freaking good, because I've not heard anyone say bad things about this MMO at all. No, and I think even Square Enix was like, oh my God, like we knew it was going to be popular, but this was kind of insane. So I guess this Endwalker brought people signing up for free trials. Some people who maybe hadn't played in a while came back. Way too many for their servers to handle. And so you were basically sitting in a queue hoping to be able to get to log in for a space to be opened up with those servers. So as of this morning, again, they just say they're just closely monitoring the situation. They're hoping, of course, to resume sales again because, that's why you have a business. But so they're just keep an eye. If you're one of those who can't get in, it just sounds like you're just going to have to keep an eye out for when they update, like, hey, all right, next round of new people can come in and play some Endwalker content. And then you have to go so other people can. But wow. Congratulations if you're one of those who made it in, it sounds like, because that's a big feat in and of itself. So The only other thing I wanted to chat about that I saw this week was Nintendo did an indie game showcase on the 15th. And there was a couple of games in there I wanted to chat about. I didn't write down every single game.
Okay.
Because it took them 30 minutes to do. So we're supposed to paraphrase, after all. But of course, siblings, if you watched it and there's a game that I did not bring up that you're like, Lace, you should have paid a little bit more attention to it, let me know. I'd be happy to give it a second look. I did watch the whole thing. I'm just excited when I see more indie getting love. It just seems that's the only way I'm going to get my games anymore. Straight to there. But yeah, did you get a chance to check out some of it at least, or
a little? Not
read a little.
Yeah, nothing concrete.
It kind of slipped me by for a minute, embarrassingly,
right?
Until I was doing some more look on the news, and I was like, oh yeah. But the first one they showed off, Sea of Stars. Looks like a retro-inspired turn-based RPG, pixel graphics. Love it. This one caught my eye. I love all of those things they described there. I like turn-based combat. I love role-playing games, and pixel graphics really just makes me smile. I really do enjoy that art. Now it's from the same developing team as The Messenger, the platformer. So this game is supposedly going to serve as a prequel to it. Won't had to have had to play The Messenger to enjoy it, but again, special treats for those who probably did. I don't know if you got to check it out. I think you would like this. I know you're not a huge RPG player, but I don't know, you might.
I know that I wanted to The Messenger. I remember that coming out because it had like Ninja Gaiden vibes, and I did want to play it, but I never did. This seems like something that would be up my alley a little bit because it has like an old school Final Fantasy vibe.
I did kind of get like the Zelda dungeon crawler from like early NES vibes too for some reason. I don't know.
And even some of the animation style of the character sprites is like they added that extra little flair to where it's a little bit better than you would have ever expected from a Super Nintendo title or a Genesis title. But still, yeah, no, I mean, it could definitely be one that I'd be up for.
I got to keep this one in mind because, guys, since I'm never going to find a new GPU again, I may not be a PC gamer for much longer. I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. I'm having to turn everything down because I'm terrified I'm going to burn everything out because there's just not a card for EOS.
Right.
I mean, I guess I just need to be a Bitcoin farmer and kind of deal with NVIDIA, and then I can have like 7,000 of them, right? Is that what I have to do? Anyway, indie games on Nintendo is what we're talking about. The next game that caught my eye, hopefully I'm saying this right, Alicia, Aliisha, I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce both I's.
I mean, yeah,
anyway,
sure.
Alicia, the Oblivion of the Twin Sister, caught my eye because I'm just really enjoying seeing these co-op multiplayer games that are getting, that we're getting more of these days. It seemed like that took a backseat for a super long time. Created specifically for the Switch. And yeah, you got to play together to get through some of the puzzles. And one player uses the touch controls, apparently, while the other one uses the TV mode and the joystick controllers. So that's how you're cooperatively working together. Again, I'm just loving this theme over the next couple of years.
So how does that work?
I think... Now, I don't have the online app thingy, but I think it has to do with that. When he was describing it, because I was watching the developer describe the gameplay in that portion of it, and that's what the again, I don't have that other one. I don't or use the app. So
you would have to have the app.
That's what it made it sound like. Okay. Isn't that what that is on the Switch Online?
Well, I thought it was a communications app. Like if you wanted to talk to people, I didn't know that there was gameplay involved. And that's what made it odd is when you're like touch screen and then the other person uses TV. It's like, yeah, but touch screen, you'd have to have it.
Play it like on like their phone, like an application with that. Like how, I don't know. There was another one, Erica, I think was like that, where you had an app where your buddy could join in via the app. And then you were still playing with the controls. Okay, so maybe I should have looked into it more. I was way too confident that's what it was, and I totally had it in my head nailed that I knew what was going on with the app.
Right. I mean, there's no telling.
Maybe now it sounds like I did it. Anyway, you can play this solo or locally co-op-y, however you want to do it. Spring 2022 right now is what they're aiming for this one to come out. So I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Maybe.
I like to give those co-op games a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Perhaps he'll never get on board with them, but he's always very kind to play them with me anyway.
Well, see, I at least like having them because I always try to look for co-op games, something that would be fun. Because I know that I play solo a lot, and I know my wife, she likes to play games, with me. And if I can find something we can play together, and it not just be her being like
drug along.
Well, yeah, or
like
doing
how when we play platformers together, I can just leave my character in the back and I just get drug along because you're so much faster.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or I know that we've played Super Mario Galaxy. You play like the little star, but I mean, she helps me get through stuff, but at the same time, it's not like I can't do it without her. This is more like, yeah.
You have to work together to accomplish a thing. One person has to be doing this thing while you're doing the other thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, caught my eye. So I'll be keeping a look on that. The other one that caught my eye, Locomotive.
Locomotive.
I think it was Locomotive. It's a play on the words loco, crazy, and motive because it's a point-and-click comedy adventure murder mystery.
Kind of looks like what's the? Oh damn! Come on, brain. I know the game.
We're struggling today.
Like
I don't know what's in the air. But...
Day of the Tentacle kind of has that, and Maniac Mansion style.
Kind of, very much so. Yeah. They might have modeled it after that because listening to the developers, they were a big, huge fan of those point-and-click adventures and kind of wanted to put their own spin on it. Mm-hmm. I'm here for it. So. It looks like it's a lot of fun. A comedy adventure. You search for clues. You make friends, like greasing the palms, doing all the stuff you got to do. Try to figure out which of the characters did this murder. So you're on the Royce Express to investigate the death of Lady Unterball. I hope I said that right. I was listening to them say it a few times. But you play the lawyer, the detective, and the undercover agent throughout the game. So you get to change between the characters to solve the murder. I think it looks cute. I'm here for it, and I will be checking it out.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm all in for this one. I think it would be a lot of fun.
It looks like it. Let's see the other one. Let's Play by Oink Games. I just always like to point out new board game type-esque games for people to sit around and play together. I like cooperative gameplay. What can I say? But yeah, available the day it was announced on the 15th. Oh, nice. So it's a bunch of different tabletop type games that you can play together. Check it out. I gravitate towards those with the Switch because isn't that the whole point?
Yeah. Right.
Or at least they that was always their try with the Wii and the Wii U. Like get everyone gathered together around and play together. So give it a shot. Did you watch the Endling? Extinction is Forever?
Endling.
Yes. Where you play as the mother fox. So the art style, gorgeous. Gorgeous. But I don't know if I want to play it because I like to hide my emotions and keep them pushed way deep down. And this one seems like it would make me cry like a baby. But you're playing as the mother fox, and you need to keep your cubs alive and lead them to safety. So it's like a survival adventure stealth game, and you hunt, to feed your cubs, train them to, be big bad foxes when they grow up. But they can all die. And I don't know that I could handle it. Yeah,
no, I could.
I like to run from emotions. Thank you. I can't. So it looks.
But it does look gorgeous.
It does look gorgeous. And if you are one who likes to feel things, you might love it. I personally, I do not like to be sad. It stays with me far too long, and so I avoid it, like any other healthy human. So, but it does look gorgeous. I just don't know how I feel about it being fun, because as soon as they said you could lose your cubs, I'm like, no, I might just
Yeah.
cry the whole time, and I don't know that I'm ever prepared for that again.
And who's to say you get them all to safety and you watch you'll be
I'd
the one
kill
that
them
dies
all.
at the end? Yeah.
Oh no. Anyway, Parkasaurus looked fun. You should check that one out. It looked like it would be one of those that I would be super addicted to for like a week or two and then finally leave it be, since I do get into those building simulation games. For whatever reason, they suck me in for a really long time, and then I'll put them away for a while. But it just looks like another fun, cutesy one like that, where you're building your park for your dinosaurs, and I'm here for it. I love those. And then the only other one that caught my eye to mention, looks like Don't Starve Together is finally coming over to the Switch in spring of 2022. So that could be a fun one to bring over to the Switch. I feel like that could play really well on there. Although I wouldn't mind having Don't Starve, since I'm a multiplayer grumpus. But I think that's a fun game to play on there. It's been out a while.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Been out a
I'm
while.
all for it.
Anyone that caught your eye that I didn't talk about?
No, I mean, I just a few that you've kind of brought up. Nothing else was really standing out that I saw.
Mm-hmm. There was
I think
a lot.
Yeah, there's the usual indie fare with a few little treats. Not to say that we love indie games, you know, but they're starting to hit a trend where you start to know what you're going to expect a little. You know what I mean?
Probably,
And then-
yeah. It's probably getting flooded, kind of how the Steam section and stuff can be as well.
I don't want that to be as in like, indie games are so dull. I'm not saying that. But there's an indie developer out there who's not made his game yet. And they will be the more original indie game versus stuff that, you know, inspired by this. I'm not knocking it, just
Right.
like AAA, they're starting to become a
You're
trend
seeing a
of
trend.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, this game, that game, yeah, of course I know what we're going to expect, and I see what you're trying to do, and I hate it that I'm feeling that way, but we're getting there.
It does take some sleuthing sometimes to go through all of it and try to get rid of the shovelware and things that are just kind of getting shoved on there. But you're right. The last time I went through the Switch store, I was a little overwhelmed at how much there actually was. It was kind of surprising. It did kind of feel like I was looking through the 99-cent Steam bin, like where you just find whatever going on in there. But there are some really good ones. So it might just have to be, you just got to know where to go.
Yeah.
Like which dev teams to look at, because it's not easy to search on the store, I don't think, when I'm doing anything on a console as far as typing. I don't get all the fancy keyboard stuff attachments that I know are out there. Anywho, siblings, let us know. Did I not talk about one I should have? I'm just telling you what I thought looked interesting.
I mean, those were interesting enough, I think.
Yeah, the Sea of Stars and that Locomotive, top two out of that showcase anyway, that I'm looking forward to checking out. Just a few quick hits, because I'm ready to get to story time. I'll be honest with you. I've been excited to
It's a big one today.
to hear the rest of it. But this one was just interesting to me, just to kind of give you all a little bit more perspective, as if we needed it, on the shortages for consoles. The Xbox shortage front, it was reported this past weekend that Microsoft's own Pro Halo Infinite tournament is having to use dev kits. Because they also don't have any Series X's to provide.
Wow.
Again, due to the semiconductor shortages, just not having the system for them to play on. So that I just thought was interesting too. Like Microsoft didn't have enough in their own tournament. To me, that was just an interesting headline. But they were assured for the players that, they were in the bracket, functionally identical. So it shouldn't, I guess, make you less of an esports person. Your skills should not be hampered, I think, is all they're trying to say. Tencent went and acquired some more stuff. You might have saw this week.
No.
Yeah. They acquired Turtle Rock Studios' parent company, Slamfire. Turtle Rock most recently put out Back for Blood. So so for now, they're saying that the studio will be able to remain independent out of California, and the team who runs the operations, co-founders Phil, Rob, and I don't think I spelled this person's name right. I'm so sorry. I put Christ Ashton. That can't be right. Well, anyway, 2 co-founders supposedly still staying on. Nothing's supposed to change, except Tencent now owns them.
Yeah.
We're going to only have 2 companies that put out our games.
Oh, yeah, for
It's
sure.
already kind of that way. Nintendo added 5 new games to your Genesis lineup for your Switch Online expansion pack. They added games like Altered Beast, Toe Jam and Earl, Dynamite Heady, Sword of Vermilion, and Thunder Force. And admittedly, I've heard of one of those games.
I got super excited because I saw Altered Beast. And then I remembered I don't pay for that shit. So I'm not going to.
Because that's the $80 one or whatever.
Yeah. And so until they make that value worth my pocket
they're trying
to spend, but not that.
See, they added
not
5
Sega
more
Genesis
games.
and N64 games that you can get on any other platform.
Oh,
it's not having
they're
it.
trying. We'll see. Stalker 2 stepped in it. Got some heat this week. Sorry, S.T.A, whatever it stands for. Look, they're trying to push the NFT thing too. It looks like this is just how life is now, I suppose. So they were including NFTs in their new game that's coming out, including one that lets you become an in-game meta-human, apparently. So they're using this good old blockchain tech to let the community own a piece of Stalker 2. And you could become a meta-human. I think if I wrote this down correctly, you have to bid for an NFT, and then that could be offering that prize as part of the auction, and then you could win to be an NPC, I guess, or whatever they're scanning your face for. You could be a meta-human in the game. But don't worry, they already walked it back in the span of a couple days due to the outcry, because people are like, what the hell, man? And they apologize for you perceiving it wrong, by the way. And Steam Marketplace also bans games that use NFTs. So I'm not really, I guess they would only be able to go to the Epic store. That still doesn't occur. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, this is a trend we're going to see now, I guess, developers and publishers wanting to push this on you as more ways to spend money in their games. So I guess more reasons to just stop AAA. It's also gross. I feel like you all are killing my love of this medium.
Oh yeah. It's hard to love these things anymore, because every time you turn around, some AAA company is doing some garbage shit, and then you try to look to the indie market, and then they're still doing good, but you know,
they try to dip their toe in, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this won't age well, and I'll eat these words in like 5 years when NFTs are just the biggest, hottest commodity, most fun. I don't know. It's just got to make more sense for me to get on board, is all I'm saying. Like, I think I get it now, and I don't see why people care. Anyway, my last little quickie. Guess what, guys? You could probably get some faceplates for your PlayStation 5 now if you want.
Yeah.
You tired of looking at that white? You can get some Nova Pink or Starlight Blue. I had to get the shades proper now. The shades proper. Galactic Purple. Honestly, I kind of like the colors. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll spend money on it, but I actually like the colors this time, like the shades of the color. It's not these bright bubblegum like colors, you know what I mean? Anyway, I like the purple and the blue.
Yeah, no, I was kind of looking at it going, yeah, I could get into this maybe.
Poor D-Brand. That's what it is. But the Midnight Black and Cosmic Red covers will become available in January 2022 if you want to get these. Look at your region, because there's like exceptions to all of these colors in what part of the world can get sold when. So look at where you live and plan accordingly. There's so many exceptions for colors and stuff like that. But then they also have the other ones that'll be later on, it looks like. First half of 2022, if you want, the blue or the purple or the pink. And then, good old D Brand, who had been sued from Sony a million times. Yeah. That was the reason why I noticed it, because D Brand was trending on Twitter that day. And I was like, uh-oh, they lost or something. And it was like, nope. It was just D Brand going, hey, thanks, Sony. We had to go through a million lawyers to try to figure this one out, and apparently we couldn't find any that knew how to handle more than one thing. So we might be in prison by the end of the year, but at least you'll have a good PlayStation 5 design, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, D-Brand, I'm sorry. That's why you were sued, because it looks like they want to make it. They don't want you to make it. They want to make it. But I don't know. I don't know that I will spend money on something else. I almost feel like it's a slap in the face for you to start selling more accoutrements when people can't even buy the goddamn console.
Right?
Like, here's all the fun stuff you can put on the console if you ever get one. Oh, dear. But yeah, I kind of want the purple one, just if anybody
I mean, I'm
cares.
kind of eyeballing the red and the black.
Just the controller. Like, I don't actually care about doing the console itself, but I do kind of want a purple or blue controller. But I don't need it because we have two already, and they're white, and it's fine. Anyway, that's all I got.
Okay.
What you thinking?
Well, I have been telling the story over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
And today is the finale of that story.
Excited.
And it's a long story. The others were they were shorter, but I thought, you know what? No, this is the epic conclusion.
It
has to be a little beefier. I can't, piddle around with it. And I said, no, we're going to go all in. We're going to go big. So, gather your family around the fire for Christmas for the epic conclusion.
Around the CD-ROM.
About everything that led to the ESRB. And what today's story kind of follows is we're not just looking at the creation, because we kind of got there. Everything that kind of led, the Senate hearings and the feuds between Nintendo and Sega.
Yeah.
But in this story, it's not only what happened as the aftermath of that, but something else that happened because of all that. Something you may not even have thought about.
Probably not.
But as I said, we've looked at the video game industry testing boundaries around content, the fight that ensued, challenging those conventions and the fallout from it. But today we are looking at the end result of it all and what changed because of it all, told in parallels. Because picking up where we left off, the industry was instructed by the government to create a rating system or the government would do it for them. Luckily.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want government oversight in everything. But luckily, some members of the industry had already been hard at work prior to these hearings. Now, as we mentioned prior, Sega had implemented its own ratings board of independent members, and they were more than happy to offer it up as the de facto system since it was kind of established already. It's like, hey, we've already done the legwork here. Let's just take what we've done and we'll implement it,
You're welcome. Yeah.
And most members of the industry were all for it. It just makes things easier.
Right.
Well, wouldn't you know, Nintendo wasn't having any of that.
Aww.
And outright refused because it was Sega.
Of course.
Petty behavior.
Yeah.
It's like,
We see that in our life all the time.
No, we can't do it because Sega
They can't
did
be
it.
the ones to make a standard.
We have to be the heroes here.
Nope. So how'd they make it worse?
Yeah. It was clear the slate would have to be wiped clean, and another party would have to be responsible for the rating system. And Jack Highstand, who was the senior VP at EA at the time, felt he was the man to do it.
Oh, no.
Now, before moving on, I want to bring up the Consumer Electronics Show. You remember that? Mm-hmm. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Beginning in 1967, the Consumer Trade Show allowed tech companies to showcase their next big innovations. In its early years, companies like Sony, Magnavox, and Philips would introduce their latest innovations in televisions, home video, cassette, and CD technology. The video game industry found their way into the trade show, but it was always kind of viewed as the red-headed stepchild, if you'll pardon the analogy.
Sure.
Usually relegated to dark corners in the exhibition hall, the summer show of 1993 became the straw that broke the camel's back. After complaining about the conditions to the head of CES, Gary Shapiro, conditions were then made worse, as exhibitionists were now placed in tents in a parking lot.
Oh.
All for saying, hey, our conditions are shit. And he's like, okay,
We'll just
we'll make them worse.
Yeah.
With the line being crossed, GamePro founder Patrick Farrell began working on a solution. Later that year, at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show of 1993, the Software Publishers Association organized a meeting of industry leaders to discuss the proposal of an industry-wide rating system. Seeing how this took place after the congressional hearings, you'd think everybody would be on the same page, right? Right?
Well, you would hope. Sure.
Well, no, because unfortunately the meeting derailed very quickly, with many PC publishers and developers demanding they not be censored.
Of course. Well, if you're looking at the time frame, I could see why they're getting upset. Yes.
Yes. Don't forget, the PC landscape was the Wild West of video games at the time.
We were allowed to do whatever we wanted. Leave us alone. Leave us out of it.
Yeah, they were like, anything goes out here, and they were worried that this new rating system would prevent them from making the games they wanted to make. Mm-hmm. So Jack Highstand, whose name I hope I'm saying right, as what it looks like to me, Highstand, he knew this meeting was over. Like, he knew that the moment they started pushing back, it was done. So he decided to organize a second secret meeting without the Software Publishers Association to discuss a proposal to form a new industry association.
Sneaky.
One that could rein in the outrage. Okay. Now, included in this meeting were the heads of major console developers at the time, since they were the ones who had the most to lose. EA stood firm as an equal party, not to just consoles, which it had recently been developing for, but it also wanted to try and get in the PC market where it really kind of started. EA used to do a lot of PC games, and then consoles were starting to become enticing.
Yeah.
And then they jumped on that, and here we are. So
Yep.
Highstand pitched his idea of this new alliance and insisted they lay out a timetable in which they could propose to have a rating system on all games in hopes of getting the government off their backs. It was agreed that October 31st, 1994 would be the date, and that perfectly aligned with the holiday shopping season. Perfecto, right?
Perfect, right?
So in February of 1994, Senator Joe Lieberman introduced the Video Game Rating Act to the Senate in an effort to show the video game industry he wasn't bluffing. Kind of like that threat to say, hey, you going to do that thing I told you? Huh? Well, if you don't, this passes.
Right here. Yep.
Now, the following month, Jack Lincoln, I'm looking at two different words.
We're just struggling, siblings. Give us a pass today.
Howard Lincoln and Jack Highstand, which I guess together they could be Jack Lincoln. Or
there you go.
Howard Highstand. He sounds like a comic book character.
He really does.
Anyway, Howard and Jack, along with a representative from Sega, appeared before the Senate to give a progress report, if you will. Jack Highstand took the lead and wanted to make his presence known in this meeting because he wasn't there during the initial one. But here he's like, no.
I've taken over.
I pitched this idea. I know what I'm doing. I think we've got something going on. He sold his idea to Congress, and he really impressed the senators. And they were just like, oh, yeah, okay, I like this guy. I like what you're doing here, buddy. You're just selling this whole thing.
You said it in words we kind of get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like this Video Games Rating Act. I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to set that over here.
I wish I could be more impressed that he impressed Congress, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. It bought the industry some time to see if this new rating system would at least work. Mm-hmm. So in April of 1994, the Interactive Digital Software Association, or the IDSA, which I will use from here on out because that's a lot. The IDSA was founded with Jack Hystent as its chairman, and their first order of business was to form the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, or the ESRB, formed using a similar board of independent members led by Dr. Arthur Pober, who was the vice president and director of Children's Advertising Review Unit. I feel like there are pluralizations missing from these words. The next several months saw...
I had to think about it.
Yeah. The next several months saw the board forming ratings that were not dissimilar than those used by the MPAA to ensure consumers, or more specifically parents, had a clear understanding of the game's content. That's some foreshadowing, if you will. A submission process was also created that would require the publisher to showcase at least 30 minutes of the most extreme content that could be found within the game. And the footage would then be reviewed by 3 independent analysts? Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Like the people who do the analyzing? Yeah.
I don't know, analysis. They're going to do an analysis, but they are the analysts who are doing the analysis of the game. There we go.
There you
3
go.
independent analysts who would determine the game's appropriate rating. Publishers had the ability...
One of which is EA.
Right. Now, publishers had the ability to appeal the rating and or make changes to the game to lower the initial rating. And it seemed like a great system, you know? Meanwhile, after the formation of the IDSA, Pat Farrell, the guy I mentioned prior, okay, he considered that the association may just be the thing to take care of that Consumer Electronics Show problem, you know, because they were pissing on them, and they didn't like that. So seeing as how the IDSA would need funding to support their program, he kind of pitched the idea of creating their own type of trade show separate from the CES to make that happen. Naturally, members weren't fully convinced from the outset. Turning their backs on a sure thing was, for something that was not really a proven thing, it's an obvious gamble. Sega was on board. They were like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Good old Sega.
They'd been equally frustrated with the conditions at the show.
Sure.
But wouldn't you know it, Nintendo, or more specifically Howard Lincoln, he was like, no, this is a safe bet, and I'm not about to abandon the safe bet. What are you, crazy? If they tell us to bend over and take it in the keister, that's what we're going to do.
We're good little workers.
We're not going to turn our back on this thing. So, Farrell decided to sweeten the pot a little bit, and he offered the IDSA with a 5% stake in the venture. And he was like, hey, all right, how about that? You get a little something.
Yeah.
It sealed the deal. So they decided to give it a go. But some were still not convinced it was worth abandoning CES, despite how they'd been treated. But in any case...
Well, it's nerves.
Yeah.
They're like, people know this thing.
Farrell began working on forming this new trade show, meant to give the video game industry the spotlight it deserved. But in saying that, it seemed to be more for the console market. The PC market had created a divide, and it was still not on board with the idea of a rating system.
No doubt.
Software Publishers Association had become bitter about being blindsided by the IDSA, and their PC members were more than happy to speak out against it. In their mind, PC games were more sophisticated pieces of art, not kids' fare like those console games. How dare they expect them to be lumped together with Mario and Sonic? You know? Now, It-
weird, but I kind of went, yeah. Why should they?
This makes you wonder how that whole Master Race talk started. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
We're jerks.
think about it. Think about it. That's what I'm hearing
Leave
here.
us alone. We were fine.
What I'm hearing here. In any case, the PC market spoke out against the idea of the ESRB, feeling that they would be succumbing to gatekeepers, citing freedom from censorship. Plus, there was fear that mature labeled games would be stigmatized, causing retailers to pull them from store shelves, and sales would immediately plummet, which is understandable. I get it.
Yeah.
So, going against the IDSA, the SPA formed the RSAC.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot of, which is the Recreational Software Advisory Council. In opposition,
See what lobbying does, people. See how many brands of red tape now has been created. Continue.
yes, the SPA formed the RSAC in opposition to the ESRB, essentially saying "K my A." Unlike the ESRB, the Recreational Software Advisory Council was clearly designed for the best interest of the PC market and nothing more. The company's founding president was Robert Roden, who was the general counsel and director of business affairs for LucasArts. Not really an outside voice like Dr. Pober. The RSAC's screening process was essentially a questionnaire that was the equivalent of self-rating your game. So, why bother?
Right.
Just tell us what's in your game.
It's fine.
Yeah. In July of 1994, SPA Representative Mark Trafhagen, or Traphagen. I'm going to assume the P and the H are together. Traphagen. Yeah, Traphagen.
You got to say it super fast.
Traphagen. He, along with IDSA Chairman Jack Highstand, returned to the Senate to present their respective rating systems, since there are now two. While Highstand was treated like an old friend that came to visit by the senators, Traphagen was immediately playing defense with the senators since they discovered a new game. Would you like to guess what that game was?
Oh, they discovered a new one, so it's
Yep.
not one we discussed?
Nope.
On the PC?
On the PC. What was popular on PC at the time they would have gotten there? It's a very popular game. PC
Would Mortal
game.
Kombat have been
No,
popular on the PC then?
Think PC. Because they knew about Mortal Kombat, they knew about Night Trap, they knew about Lethal Enforcers.
Yeah.
What's another genre of game that would have been brand new at the time and would have been filled with carnage and mayhem? Very, very popular game.
I am totally blanking. Something on the PC that was totally popular, but not a fighter or FMV.
Think a genre we haven't talked about yet, which was brand spanking new
Horror?
at the time. Genre of gameplay. Like this was starting to
First
be
person?
something brand spanking
Ooh,
new.
wait. I think maybe was this PC though? God, Manhunt sticks out in my head, but that had to be later.
You are killing me, Smalls.
I know.
Doom.
Oh shit! Why did Doom not pop into my head? Oh my God, I failed. Take away my nerd cred.
Doom was extremely popular on the PC.
Yes, it was. Still to this day, we got to make Doom run on everything.
Numerous shareware copies had floated around, helping spread popularity, and the game's now quaint, hyper-violent content and satanic imagery did not sit well with the Christian liberals.
Never does.
Trafficken's only defense was to create a divide between markets and argue that the PC market is not comparable to the home console market. You know, he's like, nah, they're obviously different. We're not like them. Yeah. And while he didn't really win anyone over in the room, because I really don't think Christian liberals are going to just be like, yeah, okay, you made a good point. It's on PC. Yeah. That's Satan talk right over there.
I know. Nobody realized they have the power of what they put in front of their eye holes, but here we go.
Despite his...
It'll be forever.
Despite his lack of arguing, the RSCA was allowed to operate separately from the ESRB as a functioning rating system for the PC market. So if you remember, do you remember those little labels? When I started doing the research, it came back. I was like, I do remember those.
Where they had like the 17 or something on
It was
there.
like a little, like you saw, if you saw the label that I'm talking about, like, again, anyone can see that here, but if you look it up, the RSCA, look up those labels, I guarantee you'll remember seeing those on PC games. Because it took me a second, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember those.
RCA label?
RSCA, yeah. I'm going to let you look that up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I was trying to... I don't think I'm Googling right. This doesn't look right. I'm getting some sort of, like, flow chart for something.
Well, I mean, that might be part of it. Hold on. Let's see.
Is it coming my way?
No.
I don't know how to Google.
Okay.
Worst.
PC.
I probably have.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is not coming up at all, is it?
Well,
What
anyway.
Anyway, all right, well, I'll
I'm
show it
sure
to you
I
later.
have, though, because I gamed through that entire era.
I'll show it to you later.
I'm sure I did.
Anyway, the months leading up to October 31st, that was our deadline, numerous outlets expressed their displeasure regarding this rating system, all decreeing censorship and really nothing more. No one seemed to take note of a major shift that was happening at the time. A month before the official ESRB rating would be seen all across the video game landscape, Acclaim was gearing up for Mortal Monday 2. Anticipation was high for the Mortal Kombat 2 home release, and no one knew that better than Nintendo.
Huh?
Sticking by their principles the first time around, they lost money, and they lost their top spot in the industry to Sega because Nintendo didn't want blood and fatalities in their game.
Yep. And that's their right to do.
Yep.
You own the company. That's what you want to do, then so be it, man. Yep.
But with a rating system right around the corner and plenty of profit to gain, Nintendo decided to allow the full gamut of gore to be present in the Super Nintendo release of Mortal Kombat 2.
But I thought these were their morals, man.
I know, but something interesting about
we had
that, don't you think?
Moral obligation to the parents.
However, since the ESRB rating system had not yet been enacted, Nintendo placed a temporary warning label on the box, explicitly stating that the game was not for anyone under 17, even though I bought it under 17.
Right?
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever expect to see blood and gore on a Nintendo
For what it was.
console.
Yeah.
There it was. And it begs the question, would this have been the move for market shares alone despite the ESRB? Or did the ESRB's existence make them feel comfortable about doing this?
It's probably a solid excuse to lean on for sure.
But which is it? The ESRB or the money? So,
I 100% think it's the money.
But I mean,
think they would have gone that way eventually, regardless of a rating system, if they were seeing how much money was being left on the table.
Yeah. But I guess I'm curious, like in an alternate universe where the ESRB was not being pushed upon them, when this time came, would they have stuck to their guns or would they have caved in regardless? That's my big question. Was the profit or the loss of profit so huge that they were just been like, you know what? We got to do this or we're going to lose everything at this point.
I feel like they would have had to have walked it back eventually. They might have tried to stick to their guns, and when they saw like regular humans didn't care about your morality clause, then they would have like eventually gotten on board. Where it's like, guess what? The people who are complaining about your game aren't the ones playing them. So...
Yeah. Now, given the shift in the industry after October 31st, my guess would probably be the latter of the two. Within a year, numerous console games were now beginning to test the waters. Almost like developers were seeing that they could possibly get away with a little bit more. Blood and gore were oddly the simplest hurdle to overcome. But what about profanity or sex, nudity?
Well, they already had been.
But I mean, on
PC
console,
anyway. Yeah, on console.
who would take those risks? You know, that's the big question.
Sega?
You'd think so, you know.
No?
Well, Pat Farrell would be the man responsible for introducing that X Factor into the zeitgeist.
Okay.
He had his trade show planned and ready to go, despite a few industry holdouts like Nintendo. We want to go to CES. However, he chose to make a play that would draw a line in the sand. Us or them. He scheduled his trade show on the exact days that CES would be held, and his show will be held in LA, which was much more convenient for developers and publishers to attend.
Oh, look at that.
You know, whether you're in the United States or Japan, it's right there on the coast.
True. Yep.
His bullish moves paid off and netted the convention the white whale that he was after. Sony. May 11th, 1995 was the launch day of the Electronics Entertainment Expo, or E3 as it came to be known, bringing in every big name from the industry, including the big holdout Nintendo. Not because they had a change of heart.
I love it that like Nintendo's just this fair weather
Yeah.
company. We'll just go wherever the wind blows or the
Well,
wind takes us.
They didn't have a change of heart. Summer CES had been canceled because Gary Shapiro recognized they had absolutely no chance at competing against E3.
Interesting.
And he was right to do so.
Oh, I have so many questions, but you have a story. Go ahead.
The show was a massive success with huge announcements, celebrity guests, and industry moments that changed the course of things going forward. At this moment in time, keep that in mind, at this moment in time, Sega was the top dog because they took risks. However, that confidence became fear, causing them to do something rash.
Oh.
Sega, during this show, hastily released the Sega Saturn at E3 ahead of its proposed September release window.
Uh-oh.
This took numerous developers by surprise since many of them were currently working on games for the console, leaving many of them to wonder what games were ready for the console.
We still had
play? Months. And what are you doing?
Oh, wow. Sega.
It felt like a slap in the face. Console launches are great for game sales, but now they were being robbed of game sales because you released your stupid console before there were any games.
Yeah.
Plus, Sega boasted...
CEOs never really did want to check in with the people doing the things, eh?
I mean, it was a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
Plus, Sega boasted this very, very then pricey $3.99 tag that made many of them feel like their work would go unseen or unplayed. Keep that in mind. $3.99 for a PlayStation 5. And that's like one without a disc drive. This is $3.99 in the 90s. Which
would also actually equate to more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an expensive
we're talking
console.
25-year span of time now. 30? Oh my God, 30? Actually? 30 years? Yeah.
I mean, you have to think about this. $3.99 at that time was a lot.
It was ridiculous.
It was kind of the equivalent of Sega doing, or Sony doing the $600 PlayStation 3. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Nintendo's presentation after Sega's flop didn't fare much better, as Howard Lincoln did nothing more than fearmonger, spouting rhetoric about piracy and the desecration of our children because the games are going to be...
For a console? Did I do something?
Just he had nothing. You know, the ESRB was formed protecting developers, and Nintendo was being forced to forced to allow bloody games on their consoles. And he just, what's something else I can argue about? Piracy.
Our next savior.
Yeah, piracy. That's what we can do. Which is probably why Sony's presentation was remembered much more fondly. Where Sega tripped and Nintendo failed, the head of North American operations, Olaf Olafsson, whose noun seems like as Nordic as it can be, entered the stage and spoke of the company's innovations and accomplishments over the years, while praising those responsible for E3 and taking pot shots at the conditions at CES. Sony knew. And their presentation ended with the president of Sony Computer Entertainment of America, Steve Ray, stepping on stage and saying $2.99, dropping the mic and walking off backstage. The exhibit hall went wild as the Sony PlayStation was then unveiled. That day, it was Sega's downfall and the beginning of its decline. The Sony PlayStation outsold Saturn 10-1, a loss it would never recover from. By the end of the century, Sega had bowed out of the console market, leaving Nintendo as Sony's sole competitor until Microsoft entered the fray in 2001. But the PlayStation changed the industry going forward, where Nintendo aimed to a family-friendly audience and Sega a more adolescent teen demographic. PlayStation leaned into the adult market, first and foremost, something that may not have been possible without the ESRB. Game developers began taking more and more risks in terms of content. Games got more violent, profanity became as commonplace as cable TV, and after a few bumpy roads, nudity was starting to pass through the adults-only rating. Even the PC market, which was staunchly opposed to the ESRB, eventually dissolved their rating system and began to embrace the ESRB as well.
It's like we were already making raunchy stuff, so I guess now we can just put a label on it.
Why not?
I mean, really, they were.
It's amazing to think that a rating system could be responsible for so much, whether it's directly or indirectly. And while I wish I could say that the ESRB had erased any and all concerns regarding the well-being of children, it did not.
No.
It only tempered them for a few years, because video games were under scrutiny once again after the shootings at Columbine in 1999, all because the shooters were known to be fans of Doom.
Right.
GTA San Andreas featured sexual situations that were developer locked, but content was found by hackers and then unlocked, leading to this assumption that games were filled with sexual imagery not meant for children.
Subliminal messages.
In games they shouldn't be playing anyway. Events like these led to court cases such as Brown versus the Entertainment Merchants Association, in which the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against a California law banning the sale of certain violent video games to children without parental supervision, citing video games as protected speech under the First Amendment. I don't know. It was such a weird time. I don't know if I should interject right now, but I was just like, we had movies doing this stuff for so long, and we did, but
it's just so weird to me.
It's that ignorant mindset that something can only be
controlling a game.
Well, it's no different than animation. People see cartoons and they're just like, well, that's for kids, even though there's so many adult cartoons out there.
There really is, yeah.
So video games got that same stigma. It's like, well, video games is for kids. It's for children's. Controversies have continued with racism, sexism, cyberbullying, gambling, and so on, all in an effort to protect the children. But thanks to government interference, one could argue things were made progressively worse. The same could be said about Nintendo. They decided to forego all their principles to chase the almighty dollar.
Principles in quotation mark.
Would the industry be better with full government oversight? or a wholesome, pure Nintendo. Everyone had a standard, a hill they would die on. And in one fell swoop, everyone made a compromise, all for a rating.
That's all I know. I have so many questions. I loved this story. Like this, this series of stories.
I've thought about compiling it into one big thing and then just like releasing it as a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that way, if you want to hear the whole story and it's in completion, I could possibly do that. Yeah. If you want to hear that, if you want me to do that,
let us
just
know.
Add us on Twitter and say, hey, do that thing that you said you would do. And I'll be like, all right.
I know what you're talking about.
I got it.
That's good. Yeah, because it was such a weird time. I remember it vaguely, but I don't know that I was paying attention to as closely to the hullabaloo. You know, like all of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes for people arguing about all this stuff. I was still blissfully in my own PC world playing all of these weird games that, yeah, maybe to be fair, I shouldn't have been playing at the age I was playing them at.
Yeah. But
because you didn't know initially that all of that would really be in there. Sure. And my mom had lots of faith in my judgment.
I mean, look,
I'm adjusted enough, I guess.
No, I mean, I'm the same with you. I was probably around 14 when all this was going on. Mm-hmm. I catch the news a little bit here and there, but I wasn't paying attention to it.
Right.
It was just like you know.
I vaguely remember the court's scenes with Night Trap.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I think it only caught my eye because I went, wait, what about it? Because when it's actually a game that I played, then I was like, wait, why? What was wrong?
Yeah. Like,
and then when they were trying to explain to me what was wrong with it, I'm like, but wait, what now? Did you play it? And then probably moved on to other things because I was a child and my attention span was nothing. But, you know.
And no, the same thing. I mean, I'd played Mortal Kombat at that time. I knew about the blood and the gore and everything. And when you're hearing these people, it's filth, it's brr. I'm just like, no, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
It's not doing anything to me. You know, I'm fine.
And it's continuing on to this day.
Yeah.
We're just going to fight about this till the end of time, I guess. And instead of people just being like, hey, it's not a medium for you, just leave it alone. Don't go over there.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Why do we got to go with that? Because of your children.
You know, I mean, if you don't like a certain movie genre, you don't watch a certain movie genre.
Exactly.
People say, I don't like scary movies. You don't watch them then, right?
Then don't go them.
Then don't watch them. Don't worry about them. They're out of your mind. Don't worry about what's in them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit out there on the internet and even movies that I don't want to watch for many reasons.
I don't write letters to my Congress people to get them taken off or whatever.
If they want to make 100 more James Bond movies, and I have nothing wrong with James Bond, but they're not. I have never watched a James Bond movie. I think maybe once.
Interesting.
I think maybe once.
Okay.
Maybe GoldenEye, and that was just like years ago because I was like, I've never done this. I'm gonna.
Yeah. What's the big deal over here?
Yeah.
Right? You're curious.
I was just curious, and I watched it, and I was like, okay. I mean, it's just not my genre. And look, I hear people talk about the new ones.
But
all
has
the
it
time.
taken up space in your head this whole time that it exists and it shouldn't?
No.
Yeah.
And but again, I don't think about it in that, and I know it's the least controversial thing that I can think of in this moment. But it just, I don't care. If you love it, great. And I'm not going to stop you from loving it.
That.
If it did anything, and I'm sure that there are questionable things that happened in the old movies, sexism, racism, whatever.
Oh God, yeah.
If you enjoy those movies, I'm not going to take that away from you. Because those things exist. I'm not going to complain about those things. Because I'm sure I'll watch things that have those moments in them.
Oh my God, especially now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't watch them because I'm sitting there going, oh, look at all the racism. This is funny. It's more like, I know this is a product of its time, and I can just kind of turn it off in my head to be like, yeah.
Not only that, I think we shouldn't be erasing it. Because, I mean, it's probably good to have those reminders of how shitty we really were. To improve and move forward. You know, if
no,
we keep erasing it all to where it looks like we were all just perfect out of the womb or whatever, where are we going to learn and grow from? You know,
I think it's actually a smart idea, and I'm glad that there are some who preserve it. Not, it's something that we need to be, because if we can watch it and just be like, oh, that was terrible, that's good.
right?
That's
right.
good. You know,
A reminder of how far we've actually come, and more work to still be done.
but what's funny about it too, and I know this is like not a topic we should be talking about right now. Christmas. It's all about racism. Anyway, no.
Christmas.
I,
Okay.
Because we're almost at Christmas. We
Oh,
should be
that's
talking about Christmas things, not,
We
not
should.
racism. But no, I wanted to bring this up because I found this interesting, and maybe my brain just works differently than others. There was very random. There was an episode of Stargirl that I was watching recently in their second season, and this character, and it hit me immediately the moment it happened. There was this villain in the show, kind of throughout the entire second season, and he was trying to mess with one of the main characters, who is a black girl, and she's kind of her character. She's not 100% confident in herself, but she can be very confident in herself at the same time. Just depends on the mood she's kind of in or what's going on.
Sure.
And the villain just shows up to her, and he's trying to get into her head, you know, and just like mess with her, because that's what he does. And he said something, and when he referred to her, he said, "I thought you people." And I said, "Did he just say you people? What?" I was like, "Did he just go there?" Yeah. But that was kind of the point. Like, he was trying to dig into who she was and tear her down, make her feel bad about being who she was. And by the end of it, she was like, "I like who I am," or "I like being black." And it was like, yeah, good for you, you know?
Okay.
But that was kind of what he was trying to do, like tear down her identity in so many different ways. I saw reviews online that were just like, "Well, I don't understand why this episode had to get racist." And I was like, were you not paying attention to what was going on here? Like, he was attacking
just pick
her
out
identity.
of a certain thing and then try to make a big thing without context. Even with context, it might be bad. I don't know, but too many people knee-jerk react before they actually see the whole thing or take it in on their own.
I mean, trust me, it hit me like it was like I had to sit there and think. I was like, did they do that on purpose, or because that was a very particular term
and
to
they
use.
made sure you understood what was going on, right?
But then, it's like the longer the episode went on, you saw him digging in deeper, because he made some very.
What year was it?
No, this was like just this past year. Like this
then
episode
I feel
came
like
out.
it would be intentional if it was just this past year.
No,
like
no.
if you were talking like cartoons from like the 40s or 50s, I'd be like, nope, they were just racist. Like, that's how it was.
No, this was done on purpose, you know, because it was all about, because they amped it up every time he would go and do it, like the stereotypes and things like that. Because he even said something about it. He's like, "I thought you people were thieves," and I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, you're really leaning in hard. But again,
out hateful stereotypes. Yeah.
It was about her not taking those pot shots and just, you know, because she even called him out for being a racist, which I was like, "Oh yeah," immediately.
Well, yeah, clearly.
But it wasn't her taking it and just being like, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. All the stereotypes. Yeah, you're right." She was like, "No, fuck you. You know, I know who I am, and I like who I am. So kiss my ass," which is good. But
yes,
it was just funny that the comments that I read were like, "Why is this episode racist? I don't understand it." It's like, did you watch the whole thing? It might not have been the most breathtaking view of trying to fight racism.
Way of,
But I got what they were doing, and I was like, good, you know, because she could have easily been one of those characters they could have written to where she was just didn't have the confidence and was like, oh, you know, and just let it overcome her, and she was like, no, I know who I am.
Right.
It's confident. It's like, yeah, I love this kid.
And I bet the people complaining aren't the group that should be upset in the first place anyway. So
usually never is.
It never usually is. It's always like, I want internet points for standing up for people who could have done it themselves had they had an issue with it.
I don't know how we got on the subject of racism after
either.
the ESRB, but here we are. Merry Christmas, everybody.
See how things just morph. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate or do not. I hope you enjoy your December then.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Good luck to you out there,
because
I'm not looking forward to mine, but continue.
Yeah, so happy holidays, everyone. That's our show. And that's our season.
Mm-hmm.
That is our end of 2021 season. We will see you, of course, next year in the 2022. So may you enjoy the rest of your year, siblings. But yeah, for now, don't forget, you can still hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. I'm sure we'll still be poking around on the Twitterverse throughout the end of the year. You can send us an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. Don't forget to go over to Instagram to review the weekly icon art. The weekly icon art that Steven puts his time and love into. You can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. You can tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or just search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and even go to youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings, in 2022. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.